This is Russell with Russell Does Stuff. My name is Russell. I work 6 hours on Monday, 6 hours on Tuesday. Whatever I don't get done on those 2 days, I'll finish up Wednesday morning. Then I have Monday afternoons off, Tuesday afternoons off, Wednesdays, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. Today, I want to make the world's best sales video. Okay? How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to show you. I was offered my first sales position when I was 19 years old. I was at a bar shooting pool with grown men who were on their break, having a beer, smoking a cigarette, enjoying themselves. I got to know one of the guys. His name was Carl. He was a salesman. He was a professional salesman. He asked me if I wanted a job. I said, "What doing?" He goes, "At night, do you want to go out and get sales leads for me? Only for a couple hours at night." He knew that people were home having dinner around the hours he wanted me to go work for him. I said, "Sure, I'll give it a shot." So I started setting leads for him. Okay. He shared some of his knowledge with me because he took a shining to me. All right. I eventually got my first air conditioning job with the company because of him. Okay. I ended up quitting because I didn't like some of their business practices. You know, honesty is the best policy. All right, don't lie to people to make sales. And when you're a professional salesman, you can use your sales abilities to rip and take advantage of people. I will not do that. First thing you want to do is -1. You have to sell yourself to who you're trying to sell something to. That is the first thing you have to do. Okay? Nobody buys things from people they don't like. Okay? Grocery stores, they're selling you things that are on a shelf. There's nobody standing next to the box of cereal trying to sell you that box of cereal. So when they say that their sales were so many millions of dollars for that month, they're just product placing things and advertising and stuff. That's how they're selling. There's no interaction between two people. Then you have to know your product or service that you're selling. What are you selling? Are you selling a machine? Are you selling pest control? Are you selling a service? Sometimes you're going to sell something to someone that they're only going to use once. Sometimes you're going to sell something to somebody that they're going to use for months and years. You know, a car. Someone's going to drive a car around for 5 years. You're going to sell them a car that every time they get in it, they're going to think of who sold that car to them. All right? Products and services. What are you selling? You better try that product out. You better understand that service you're selling so you can overcome objections, answer questions. I'm passionate about this. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't know this. Dress the part. If you're selling dirt, you better look like you're selling dirt. All right? The next thing, the most important thing, is you should know something about your customer before you even get to their house. Okay? Where do they live? Gated community, non-gated community? Did they just suffer a hurricane? You need to know something about that customer. Did they just buy that house? You can look this up on the internet. You know, you can get a lot of information about people by just looking them up on the internet. Okay. When you pull up to their house, you should know 3 or 4 things about that person. They're driving a Porsche or a truck. Okay, they got a bumper sticker on their bumper. They're a fan of the NFL or a certain sports team. You need to start the wheels turning. Okay, how does their yard look? Is it well maintained? Is it messy? Maybe they've been in the hospital for 6 months and they haven't been able to get outside. You need to start trying to figure this stuff out about who you're trying to sell stuff to. All right, if they're a rancher and they have cattle and you're trying to sell fertilizer and feed to them, you need to know something about that customer before you knock on that door. 99% of the time, the customer will tell you who they are by how they represent themselves with their things and their stuff, etc. Do they go to church? Are they political? They'll have bumper stickers on there. So you're not going to accidentally mention the candidate that they don't like. Then they're not going to like you. You're not somebody they now want to be around. All right. So you like and love everybody automatically. When you see politic stickers, vote for so and so, you're a fan of everyone. All right. Do they have a dog or a cat? Do they have pool service? Do they have lawn care? Do they have pest control? You don't see bugs running around when you headed up to the front door to knock on it. They probably got pest control. You don't see ants crawling around. So that tells you right there that they're paying for services. Okay? I don't know many customers that are going to finally edge the sidewalk in the driveway to their house. That's letting you know that they're buying services. Do you look at the walls? You can tell if they have pressure cleaning or not. All right? You need to know this stuff before you knock on the door. When you approach the front door of this customer, you look for the doorbell or the Ring. They have the Ring camera now. Okay? If there's a lanai in between the front door and the house, you open the lanai door, you go over, and you don't beat on that door like some crazy dude. You respectfully knock. Very, very gently, very calmly. You go back out that lanai door and you stand there and you have space between them and you. And you listen. You can tell when someone's coming to the front door. They got to get their keys out. They're going to turn the lock. Okay? If you don't hear anything in the house and you know you're supposed to be there and you have a set appointment time, knock again, a little louder this time. They may be in the back of the house. Get your butt back out on that walkway. You make sure you close that lanai door and you stand there and you listen. Normally it doesn't take more than 3 times to get somebody to come open their door. If they don't open the door, then go back to your vehicle and try to get them on the phone. All right, but normally it's three times. They're in the shower or something. They're getting ready. Okay. You meet and greet them. Now you have distance between each other. Hi, I'm Russell. I'm here to have the appointment that we set up concerning lawn care. Oh, great! I've been excited to hear. I'm excited you're here. When you introduce yourself, shut up and then listen to what they have to say. That'll tell you everything about what's going to transpire here. All right. I'm excited to see you, Russ. I've been waiting for you for the last 2 weeks. I'm glad you're here. Everyone else I've called, they won't show up. I got a customer last week because nobody would go out and give the guy an estimate. It's an easy job. It's going to take me 8 minutes to do it. 8 divided into 30 times whatever. All right, I just added that to my number. Okay. If they're not happy to see you, figure out why. Their goldfish just died and they're bummed out. You're on a fact-finding mission. Once you get the going back and forth between the customer and you You're there to problem solve. You're on a fact-finding mission. Well, I hope your morning's going great. Well, yeah, the coffee maker broke and I'm not happy and stuff. Well, I tell you what, I'm here to make your day a lot better than it was. I'm going to brighten up your morning, baby. All right, positive mental attitude. All right, you're going to overcome every objection that this person has in order to make their problems go away. All right, that's what I used to do. I still do it if I have to. Okay? Customers, they have boundaries. Like I was saying, observe their body language. Do they need more time to get ready? Do they need to finish getting dressed? I'll wait out here, Miss Johnson, while you get ready. Or hey, why don't you just come on in? All right. Now you're in their house. They've invited you in their house. Okay? I would sit on the floor when I was with elderly customers. Can I get you a chair, Russell? No, I'll just sit here on the floor. Why did I find that worked? Because the customers were comfortable. They were off guard. They weren't on guard anymore. I would sit on the floor. Okay. I sold an account last week. I sat on the driveway. The guy's like, "Let me get you a chair." I said, "No, I don't need a chair." If he wants to continue pushing that chair down my throat, I'm not going to have an easy time with trying to sell him something because he won't listen to me. Okay. It was once said, if a customer asks you for a glass of water, what you do is you say, "I'd just like a half a glass of water." If they bring you back a full glass of water, that means they're not listening to you, and they're the type of people that just do whatever they want. So when they brought back a half a glass of water, I knew something more about that person. They're opening to listening. Now I can help problem solve them better. They're not going to be tit for tat, or "I don't believe that this is going to work for me." I'm not going to probably have to prove as much and as many things to them as I would an engineer or somebody. I would sit on the floor. That worked all the time. All right. As soon as I got in the house, I'm sitting on the floor. I would listen a little bit more, hear what the customer had to say. This is my house. Sorry, it's a mess or whatever, and stuff. And then I would pick my moment to start talking about my product or service. I see that your lawn's a mess. Why is the lawn a mess? What's going on? And shut up and listen to them. They'll tell you everything you need to know. Well, our last lawn guy, he quit coming 3 weeks ago. You already know that because this is your job. You know about your product and you know about your service. All right. Well, I tell you what, Mrs. Johnson, I would like to help you solve your problem. Shut up. Well, how do you intend on doing that, Russell? Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show up to your house every week. All right? And I'm going to make your house look great. All right? You're not going to have to worry about anything ever again because me and my guys are going to take good care of you. I just sold her something and I haven't collected any money yet. I'm selling her me. Okay? How am I going to do that? Well, I tell you what, Miss Johnson, we have a service contract that we have all our customers sign. Protects you and it protects me. And shut up. Well, contracts, well, what's that cost? Well, I tell you what, Miss Johnson, our contracts are not that expensive and they're not that cheap. You don't want to pay for cheap work. I normally tell the customer, I need to make a profit. And if I'm not making a profit, then I don't feel like doing the best job or whatever. So I want to get paid my worth. Okay, and shut up. Well, I agree with that, Russell. Everybody should be paid what they're worth. Okay, but I don't want to pay too much. I was paying the last guy way too much. And I listened to what she said. I said, well, I assure you, Mrs. Johnson, that's not going to be the case. We're very competitive. I've been doing this a long time. I have a lot of customers, a lot of referrals. If you need to speak to somebody on the phone, I have customers you can call that'll gladly answer some questions about my track record. And shut up. They'll tell you everything you need to know next. No, that's no need to do that. No need to do that. I'm building a relationship with this person. Okay? My mission here is fact finding. Okay? This is a sales process. Okay? It's like a railroad track that gets smaller. Know where you're at in the sales process. Okay? I'm on a mission to find fact-finding mission. Okay? Is she going to be all right signing my contract for the amount of money that I'm putting on it? Well, we're going to find out. Well, Russell, how much is it going to cost me to take care of my lawn? Well, I tell you what I can do for you. I normally charge, $165 for a property like this. Watch their expressions and their body language. Whoa, yeah, my last guy was only charging me $85. You want to charge me $165? This is what I'm going to do for you, Miss Johnson. I've got 3 guys. We normally charge $165 for that lawn, but I think we can do this lawn in a little bit less time. I'll throw $135 at you. What do you think about that? That's fair. I'm making money. I'm covering my costs. Well, all right. That's fine. So now I've talked money with this lady, and she didn't freak out or any of that stuff. I explained to her why I charged that amount. I'm not working for $85, and if I have to defend that, I will. Well, that's the reason why you had trouble with the last lawn service, because they weren't making any money. I don't know anybody that works for no money. Okay? Do you agree with that, Miss Johnson? Yes. Always know where you're at in the sales process. Okay? I've overcome their objections on price. And if I hadn't overcome their objections on price, and I had to start all the way over and explain my products and service again, and then sometimes you have to do that. Husband or wife comes home, and you have to start all over. So you have to drag your customer all the way back to the beginning and pick up where you left off. You have to take them with you. Okay? You've overcome the objections. She's okay with the price now. Now we're getting down to the end of the path here, the sales path, all right? You ask for their business. All right, well, I have a contract on me, and I'll go ahead and fill it out, and I'll put $135 on there. This is good for a year, starting today. Is that all right, Mrs. Johnson? And shut up. Oh, yes, Russell, that'll be great. I just asked for her business. I don't have to ask who makes the decisions right yet, okay? But make sure that you're aware that, well, my husband, he normally has the checkbook, okay? I said, is there any way I can collect the money today so we can get started? And shut up. Oh, yeah, that's fine. How do you take a check, a credit card? Never take cash. Okay? Ever. When you're doing this. Ever. No, a check is fine. You can make it out to Russell. All right, that sounds great. Normally after this, they ask you if you want something. Would you like lunch? Would you like another drink? You've become their friend. You've built a relationship with them. I only had lunch once at a customer's house, and it was the worst lunch I ever ate in my life. And I happened to be there running an estimate with an employee. I put my lunch he made me in the garbage can, folded it all up in the paper plate. Lee, he sucked that sandwich down like it was the best sandwich on the planet. Customer came out and asked us if we wanted another sandwich. I said, no, I'm good. He went over in the garbage can and pulled my sandwich out. I had to tell him I wasn't feeling good, all right? So never accept food or lunch or any of that stuff. No, it's just, you know, I appreciate your kindness. Thank you very much for thinking of me, but I just ate. You know, don't tell them you're not feeling good, because then they'll think you're frail and you can't do anything for them. All right. So you find out who makes the decisions. If there's some objections concerning the money, okay. If you're having a problem getting their business and you're here, you're at the finish line, you may have to add something to this in order to get the deal. I noticed that some of your trees were rubbing the roof of your house. I tell you what, we normally charge a couple $100 to do that, but if you want to go with us, I'll take care of that for you. You just added value, overcame an objection, and you got a contract signed. Okay, you need to be thinking about this stuff. You'll know what to think about while you're going through the sales process. Okay, sometimes the smallest amount for a product or a service is very hard. Sometimes you'll spend an hour trying to get $130 out of somebody. All right. When I sold air conditioners, you know, the average sale took me about an hour. Most of it was paperwork. Okay. Friends buy from friends. Okay. You're doing all this to become their friend. And I did a video on how much friend you want to be with these people. All right. Never, ever, ever use a red pen when you're signing a contract with somebody. Red means stop. Okay? Never do that, ever. And remember, the first person who talks loses. This job is going to cost $1,500. Shut up and listen. Well, I don't have $1,500. Or you'll hear, oh, that's only $1,500? Wow, that's great. The last guy was going to charge me $3,000. Oh, $1,500. Oh, I got to talk to my husband about that. You know, listen. And then go back to this and overcome the objections. All right? Collect something. Get a commitment out of them. Okay? You're there. You're there. Get a commitment out of them. If they don't want your services, they think $135 is way too much, you know that this isn't good for your company or your business, you don't want this customer as part of your book of business, get the hell out of there. Hi, I appreciate your time and stuff. My name's Russell. If your sister, your brother, your neighbor might need something, here's a couple cards. Get the hell out of there. All right? So don't waste your time if it ain't a good fit for you. But when you first start out with your business, you're going to need people that don't fit to help you pay your bills and get you to people that do fit. For the first 4 or 5 years of my business, I worked for people I didn't want to work for. I worked for cheaper amounts than I could be getting. But I built up to it. I built up to better customers. I built up to better paying customers. I built up to higher paying accounts. Okay? I built up trust. Okay? And it all started here with this sales process. Know where you're at on it. Okay? After I lost my air conditioning business in Oregon, I had to go sell cars. I never sold cars and trucks in my life. Went to the dealership. I said, I need a job. You're hiring salesmen. I'm your guy. I spoke about that in a video that I made a while ago. They hired me. I'm surrounded by sharks now, professional salesmen that sell tons of cars a week. How am I going to survive in that climate? I had to build a better mousetrap. These guys are out getting ups on the lot. They would walk in front of me and grab the customer from me. Oh, this is my cousin coming to see me. Yeah, all right, So I hung out in the service department. True story. Sat in the service department, started talking to a guy. Hey, what's wrong with your vehicle? Oh, it's in here for tire rotation and oil change. I got to talking with him. I started the sales process with this guy and he didn't even know it. Okay? So what's wrong with your SUV? You like it? Nah, you know. Then we're in the objection part of the sales process. Well, what do you like about it? God's honest truth. He couldn't fit a potty chair in the back of it. I tell you what I can do for you, Mr. Customer. We're having a sale right now on excursions. Well, I don't know if an excursion will fit in my garage. Objection. I said, you'll never know until we go find out. I went to his house and measured his garage. I sold that man an excursion because his potty chair wouldn't fit in his Explorer. I found a problem and I solved it. Okay? If there's car salesmen listening to this, I sold 30 cars in 30 working days. Okay? None of them were ups. Phone calls. I would go sit by the phone. A lot of dealerships, the phone goes right to the lady by the door. You know, you know that lady. She's 88 years old. She's been working at the car dealership, the car lot since 1940. She gets the phone call first, and then she goes, beep, available sales, line 1. Bam, I got the call. Set up an appointment. Appointments sell. This was an appointment. There's a law of averages on how many appointments sell versus people who just walk up into a car lot. You know, it's a lot easier to sell an appointment than it is an up. An up is just the next salesman up. Available salesman to the lot. There's a customer wandering around. Maybe he got lost looking for the grocery store. You know, when you have an appointment, you can get prepared for that appointment, and you already know your product and your service. You can get to know a little something about that customer because you talked to them on the phone. Okay, there's 9 different personalities of people. Get as close as you can to that person's personality. All right. You're going to need to know that stuff during the sales process. When you're a car salesman, you haven't been to their house. So you're looking at their clothes. You're trying to glean any kind of information out of them you can. You know, did they go buy a soda? Did they drink water? You know, there's all sorts of stuff you can learn about people. And if you know the 9 different types of personalities and people, then you have an advantage over everyone else. I knew this stuff when I was a kid. Okay, I used this process my whole life. I didn't buy books and CDs and stuff like that. All right, I'd listen to other salesmen. All right, we didn't have YouTube back then. I think this is Dale Carnegie. Okay, never read any of his books. Okay, but I knew where I was at in the sales process. And if I was here asking for money and they're still asking about the product or service, I had to start all the way over and drag my customer back with me. All right? This is why I think this is the best sales video on YouTube and maybe the best sales video in the world. This is Russell with Russell Does Stuff. And this is how I got half a Monday off, half a Tuesday off, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. Okay? If you like this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. If you're just passing through and you don't like this kind of stuff, you don't want, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, help a stranger out. Okay? It's important to know where you're at in the sales process. I've seen all sorts of ways to sell stuff to people. The SS method and this and that method. I say the best thing a young man could do is go out there and beat the streets and knock on doors. That's how we used to do it in the old days. Cold calling people. All right? That's where you cut your teeth. It makes you tough. It makes you think. And then you start seeing some of the same people over again and go, oh, I sold somebody with this personality something last week. Oh, you know, knowledge is power. Okay? If callbacks were greenbacks, we would all be rich. This is Russell with Russell Does Stuff.